Alric Carter.
AC, definitely. All right, how you doing? So I guess Nigel came up. Anyway, you've hung out with Lettuce before a little bit there, and we talked to Nigel yesterday. So I thought this was a neat little thing. You were I feel like that your playing is a bit different than Nigel, but then sometimes you guys maybe the Venn diagram happens. Do you think there's some truth to that?
Nigel's a great player, man. He's and a great singer, multi-instrumentalist. It's nice to have that perspective, where you can combine both instruments to, part of your sound.
Right.
I think I would say, we're both fans of soul music, classic, Rhodes, those kind of things. Donny Hathaway, you know what I mean? That kind of style for sure. So for me, as far as those voicings, that kind of music, understanding how to connect to people through song.
Mhm.
Yeah, I definitely would like, I would think that we are in that part of the
Yes.
Venn diagram that you
Yes.
referenced.
Definitely. So you guys are what? 13 years in now? Something like that. 2011. Did you start 2012? Something like that?
I mean, we started officially, I guess 2003. So
Wow.
we've been playing together for a long, long time. But yes, as the lineup is now, 2012 is which is also a long time. Um,
Right.
so
Right.
yeah,
So
we've been
you
at it.
said high school you started, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Three of the members started in high school. Yeah.
Nice, nice. That's fantastic. It's tough to keep any relationship going with one person, let alone with two other guys there.
Yeah, man, it's definitely it's a family. I feel like I've in a, a multi-person relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
When you started, was it originals in the beginning, or did you guys jump in with covers and some originals? What was it looking like back in
I mean, back
2003?
then listen, man, we're just high school band, like the weird guys trying to figure out, what we have in common. So we're just happy to play music. I
Right.
think each of us were in like band and orchestra respectively, and are playing other instruments. But yeah, for us back then, I know we played Fish when we were doing like high school parties in the city and stuff like that. But yeah, it was always originals. That was the goal, to write and our own songs, to have our own voice. Yeah, and everyone contributes.
I think that that's probably the best way to go if a band wants to write originals, because I've seen a lot of bands that were cover bands and then they decided to start writing originals and they lost their whole crowd because the people were coming to see them because they played Grateful Dead songs, you
Right.
know?
Well, it's a double-edged sword, It's like
Right.
when you find an artist who dedicates him or herself to understanding a specific language, and they
Mm,
become fluent in that language, man, it's like you can then articulate your ideas in a certain way. And it's that kind of proven formula that works. You think about someone who plays Monk, or you think about someone who plays Jerry, you know what I mean? Like,
mhm.
it's one thing to play him note for note, but it's another thing to understand what he's going for and the arcs and the shape of, his
Right.
styles, which is
I
why so many cover bands. There's so many Grateful Dead cover
I
bands.
I I feel like Mayer really has captured the soul of Garcia with what he does with Dead and Company there, which surprises me because if you had asked me 20 years ago, I would have made fun of John Mayer from here to next Tuesday.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I understand that. At the same time, it is, like John Mayer is someone who made popular music, right? And he still was
Right.
writing original music. So it's something that like that registered with a lot of people. The fact that he still like took the time to study Steve Ray Vaughan, he took the time to listen to Jerry and not impose himself on it, but to
Right.
try to uplift it, I think is really, really good. I saw them at the Sphere.
How
And
nice.
it was an awesome show. It was great to hear everyone. And it's not about him, it's about the
Right.
group, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
like, I think he understood the assignment.
Right. How was the Sphere? What was your experience like there?
Oh, the Sphere is amazing, man. I mean, it's something, it's a place that most people have not really experienced sound and visuals. I
Mhm.
believe it's the since like 16K that the LEDs or the screens are in, and
Right.
then the
Yeah.
sound is, is pretty much like laser beam sound. So you
Right.
can the clarity that you have in this building is amazing. So I highly
Right.
recommend.
Right.
If you can go see
I
Katy Perry, you can go see like someone at the Sphere. It's like
Right, right. I'm planning
it's
on trying to pop in and see Fish. Word on the street is they may be doing like 8 shows next year there. So
Oh, I hope so. That'd be
yes,
great. I highly recommend you get over there. The Fish did a good job too,
right.
on like compared to like on short notice,
Yeah, well, good for them. They streamed. Dead and Company didn't stream, so I didn't get to see much of that except fan stuff. But at least Fish, and they did it very well, from what I hear from people who were there and also watched, that capturing the enormity of it and the whole thing.
Right.
That's
Well,
great. All
obviously,
right.
for the Fish fan, you have lights is a big part of the show. Kuroda is like a very
Right.
important part of the team, and there's definitely he has fans and supporters, and like it's something that's very different for these loyal fans. So, but at the same time, I do recommend seeing something different, and like what the sphere has is pretty amazing.
Right. I want to see Beyonce or something there. I want to see a spectacle.
Yeah, let's see an EDM show. That would be pretty cool too. Sound like
But New Year's they have a DJ
Skrillex,
playing.
something like that. Yeah, exactly. That's gonna be.
Yeah,
I hear that's gonna be an awesome show. So it's good to see advances in technology in the show. And then live show and live
right.
performance. So,
Definitely. Definitely. So you guys, when you how do you let's we're getting back to your band here. You approach how do you guys write songs? Do you like have a piece that you came up with and you bring it in and you guys flesh it out, or do you walk in with a complete finished product and say, this is what my vision is?
it changes. I mean, everyone writes differently. Um, what works for me, unlike a certain time period, might not work for someone else. But that's the beauty about having different ideas, and having 4 different perspectives. With the same
Mhm.
goal. So yeah, I'll bring an idea. It could be on something like Logic or it could be something like a music notation program similar to Sibelius. We've used that in the past. So I can write out everything from the bass to the drums to like piano, the melodies, and then I'll send it out to everyone. Everyone will learn it. And there's this trust. It's like, well, I can write a drum part, but I'm not Isaac. So
Right.
Isaac, can you do what you do and just make it better? you
Right.
know. So there's that kind of there's no ego really, and there's an understanding that once you kind of bring it in, it's naturally going to change. What it
Right.
sounds like on the track, or what it sounds like in the box, or in the whatever DAW you're working in, isn't
Right.
necessarily going to be what it sounds when real humans are breathing life on into the track.
Right. You send your kid out into the world, yeah. You just have to trust that it
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
get beat up or something.
I listen. We're all artists. We're all sensitive, you know.
Right. I hear
But
you.
it's really nice to have like, especially even since Isaac's been in the band, a safe place to do this.
Mhm.
If it sucks, your homies will
Right.
let you know it sucks. I mean, but or they'll figure out ways to make it better.
Right,
Um,
exactly. That's what
and
I
it's
always heard.
great.
There's a little nugget in there, maybe something you can work with.
Oh, but yeah, but that's the thing. And sometimes you may be so involved in something or so deep into it, we call it demoitis, where you spent months on this and you're really excited to bring it to everyone, and like they don't necessarily have the same reaction, or they just see it differently, like something that you've been stuck on by a simple chord or just muting
Right,
something or suggestion. You see the light at the end of the tunnel for the song, and that's really, I can't tell you how many times that has happened, to improve a song, and it's been a beautiful experience.
right. Yeah, it has to be. That has to be. So let's go back. If you think about Breakdown King, um, and through what you're doing right now, do you see a progression or an arc at all to your compositions?
I hope so. Like, that's the point, right?
Well, the Ramones made a career doing the same album 18 times, so Sometimes
you
you
know,
don't have to progress.
yeah, I listen, like, I think there's a way to, like anything, we grow, it's like
Right.
I look at pictures on Facebook like 10 years ago, and I'm like, oh, I'm definitely not the same person. I might
Yeah, I
actually
used
need
to
to
have brown
update my
hair.
profile picture, come to think about it. But yeah, we grow and we grow together, and musically we want to write things that we like,
Right.
what was around 10 years ago was great. And like, you pay homage to the past, the 70s, like all these fusion bands that we love. Um, but there's other things that come and new sounds, new keyboards, um, and that creates a whole different want to grow,
Mhm. Right.
so I think, starting off from pull factors to homunculus to collisions to the live record, to Sir Nebula, moving on to Chaos Companion, like these are all different periods for us. It's kind of like a snapshot in time.
Right.
But yeah, and
Yeah, I
then
always call it the
yeah,
artifact. I call a studio recording the artifact. It's where it was at that moment, but the live setting is where it lives and can continue to grow.
exactly, which has been really fun, and obviously the jam community, and who is a big part of our supporters,
Mhm.
thrive in that and understand that, and leave space for you as an artist to explore that and push for that, which is I think a really cool, like, symbiotic relationship between a
Yep.
community and an artist.
It's beautiful. And it's I think pop stars don't get that. I mean, they have the people throwing stuff up on stage at them, I guess, but I don't think that there's that place that allows you to, even outside your group of yeah, outside the group, the audience too will give you the feedback and let you know if something works. I'm sure you've had songs that you were like, I don't know if that's going to work, and they turn out that everyone's like, that was fantastic.
Right. I think something that musicians, to a certain extent, need to be okay with is, like, it's not up to you. You don't necessarily get to decide the hit song. I mean, you can
Mhm.
try to manipulate or try to push in several ways. But like, it again, that's something that's up to the public or up to your fan base. And I think the jam community um has a lot of active listeners,
Mhm.
which I think lends itself to our original material, some of the more
Right.
progressive nature of what we're doing, the rock collabs and whatnot. So yeah, I think that's a great aspect of where we're at.
Right. As you go forward, always writing new music, which I love. How do you deal with set list? Do some songs just become casualties of you having an ever increasing repertoire?
It's been interesting, recently. I think with all these new songs, I think we're pushing over 100 originals,
Mhm.
which is great. Eh, can I play all 100 originals on the spot for you right now? Just give me like 10 minutes,
Right, right,
like,
I hear
over
you.
the next week. Um, but I think we also check where we were in the market last time. Charlie's really our set list guru.
Okay.
Charlie, our bass player. But that's something that we thought of when we were touring a lot. Just like, all right, well, if we hit Cleveland this year, all right, let's make sure that we give them a completely different show. Um, this time, and we're trying to be
Right.
conscious of that while trying to maintain like what we want a live show to, to feel like. So it's
Mhm.
definitely tricky, but we definitely plan ahead and don't want to repeat.
Right.
I think there was a run last year we did for 2 weeks out with Dopapod, and we didn't repeat a song.
Nice.
You know,
Your own
which,
little baker's dozen there.
yeah, you know, and this challenging is, it's a good challenge for the band to, like,
Right.
keep on toes,
Yeah.
keep on our toes for originals. Some of them are more jam oriented, some of them are a little bit more through composed and performance based. So
Mhm.
got to make sure you can play your stuff.
Right. Right, exactly. So you had Chaos Companion. What was that? 2021.
Yes.
Right? I think something like that. So was that written before COVID, or is that something that was done during COVID?
That was done. That was done during COVID. Hence, Chaos Companion. It was, and we didn't know what to do, like everyone else. So, and it's actually a kind of a instrumental time for us where we finished off our studio space, How Now Studios, in Oyster Bay, and this is our headquarters. So where we're able to and still are recording and putting out all our material from, which has been a great thing to have because we've been able to get G Love and Mike, all the collaborations, Kanika Moore who come out, Robert Randolph, he came out. You know what I mean? This is an awesome space. But there's during that time of during a Chaos Companion, we're writing those songs during COVID. So it was, and also exploring with Ableton. So it
Mhm.
was actually a really cool moment for us, um, pandemic aside,
Right,
to
right.
artistically kind of reconvene, to kind of gather and restructure what we wanted to do and how we were going to approach our live show, and how we wrote songs moving forward.
Right. It forced you off the road. It forced everybody. And I've heard from so many musicians that nobody wants to say that COVID was good for any reason, but I think for most of us it was good. I started 2 podcasts and did a third one that was only 6 episodes, but that's all it ever was planned. I mean, I think it changed everyone's life, and the pain and the horror, I guess, of the whole thing. We found the silver lining there, maybe.
Yeah,
And
maybe I hope so. I'm gonna err on the side of being positive.
right.
The tour market's definitely
Right. It's gonna be
never
5 years. It's gonna be
never
5
really
years
hopped
next
back, I
year.
thought, but yeah,
Mm,
we'll see. But
it's gonna be 5 years since it happened
yeah, it's pretty
next
wild,
year.
pretty crazy.
I It's been like a year in my life, I feel like.
Yeah, but as far as talk, and Chaos Companion during that time, like Matt, our guitar players, really got
Mhm.
into Ableton and helped us out, um, uploading all our songs into, you know, uh, our entire catalog, so we can, have that fluidity at shows if we want to decide what to do. And this also helps us create a platform for new improv. So
Yep.
we can take a song that we've been playing for 7 years now, because we're integrated in a certain way. um, we still do the improv that we have been doing, but we have the option to really enhance it, which has been super fun.
Right. How did those decisions come about? Where to improvise within a song?
Well, it depends on the song, obviously, as that's cliche to say. Uh, but for us, and if you listen to a bunch of our material, especially some of our older material, we still follow a basic song structure where
Mhm.
there's a melody uh on a verse, maybe a verse B melody, but there's a verse, chorus,
There's a
bridge,
structure to it. There's a
yeah, and then all and
right.
then we usually open it up towards either solo or some kind of open section. When we're recording for like a studio album, there's different approaches to do studio records. We kind of release our live record, to kind of show people and let people hear what we do at the live shows, where we can really expand. But in the studio recording, sometimes we're trying to take a snapshot, like of, I guess, the best average of what this song is. So
Okay.
sometimes that might not lend itself to be a 10-minute odyssey.
Right. Right,
you
right.
know?
Exactly. So how do you how do you keep your voice, AC's voice, but also make sure that you're creating TAUK's voice while you're up there improvising? Does
I don't
that
know,
make
man.
sense?
It does make sense. I know it does make sense. I know. For me, I think it's one and the same. It's like
Okay.
I see myself as part of that, sound, and it's just part of who we
Mhm.
are. And I just see it in terms of what I create myself is just the noise that I create. You know, there's a soup in how my some kind of soup recipe for how it works in my head, for the sounds and that I put out. And like that definitely is a part of TAUK and a part of just who I am in general. And I don't know. I really think I need to differentiate
Right.
because it's just like just how I speak.
Right. No ego there. It sounds like a no ego thing, which makes for better music from what I've found
Yeah,
over
I
my
mean, you
life.
also got to know your lane too, right? You got to know what you're good at,
Right, right.
and know how to compliment other people. And I think being in this band has really helped me hone that in. Sometimes it's your time to step up, but sometimes it's your time to really support. Right?
Mhm.
It's like my job to help the three of those guys and whoever comes in sound the best that they can, and
Right.
and they take the same responsibility.
Right.
You know,
How do you guys do in-ear or monitors? How do you signal each other? How do you
so
communicate on stage, or is it just feeling? Where you
so
all
for
know
years,
that this is
for years we just had monitors, and I used to
right.
sit next to Isaac, and I never had him in my monitor because I didn't need to. But through
Mhm.
having a Leslie and Isaac,
Right,
say, you know what, I'm going to try some ears.
right.
And which has been great. So we're actually all on ears, which has also tightened up our show.
Mhm.
You can really hear the finesse or the exactness of like, all right, where the click is or where the one is, how to
Mhm.
sit in it, um, and you save your ears. So it's that's been good. And we do have a talkback system, but I try not to use it too much because
Right.
if someone's vibing in the middle of a solo or there's a section and you're like,
You
I
don't
need
put your
more
thumb on the
bass,
scale.
it's just like totally could throw the person off. It's like, well, yeah, great, you need more bass, but now I'm like, instead of thinking of this line, I'm
Right.
thinking about you're behind, like yelling into the mic.
Right. Exactly. What do you do for your mix? What do you have like the drums and bass higher or than the guitar, or what are you
Yeah,
focusing
so
on?
for every stage is different, right? Because some rooms are more live than others, right? But generally, I pan my Leslie hard left, hard right. Um, if you think of it kind of like a clock, or like a
Right.
180 platform,
Mhm.
right? So I'm putting my keyboard like probably like my motif, like 10 and 2. I have my organ pen hard left to right, drums are center, bass is a little bit on the right, and then I have my Nord panned like 1 o'clock. I have Matt panned like 11 o'clock. So I split the melodies, so
Okay.
the instruments that are really having the melodies, I have them split, and I have stereo for keys, my
Mhm.
motif, organ wide, and then all the other instruments, my Prophet, which I'm running sequencers and stuff. I usually have that like center, so I can hear it in time with the click. Excuse me, with the drums and the kick.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
So that I think that um the in-ear monitors has done so much for so many bands. Just the communication thing, like you're saying, I guess the clarity that you can almost visualize a sculpture of what's going on
yeah.
with it.
It definitely, I felt weird for a while. It took me almost an entire year of shows, probably like 150 plus shows to really get accustomed to them. Just to feel, because it's different, right? If you're used
Mhm.
to uh, a certain attack on a keyboard or hearing the crowd, the energy, um, it feels different. You kind of feel in a bubble sometimes, almost in a vacuum, depending on how isolating your brand of ears can be. I've been using um, the Shure
Right.
535s, which has been great. Um, they make other models with better drivers or other drivers, more drivers rather.
Mhm.
But sometimes it's nice to have a little bleed that come in
Right.
from the stage.
Right.
So it's definitely a preference for everyone, but it's
Right.
definitely saves my ears and you know
That's
improve the
fantastic.
show.
So how does the improvisation or even just playing a song change when you throw in a couple jokers like having the lettuce horns come out or something like that?
How does it change? Well,
Yeah.
like we bring a guest out, so again, it's like, all right, well, what's a song that features them, or what's a song that they can blow on that is, I mean, they can, someone like the Lettuce Horns, those guys can blow on whatever.
Right.
They're great musicians. But it's like you try to find the song that would hit. And yeah, it's sometimes it's about falling out, right? Like maybe you bring an extra person, maybe I don't need to play
Right.
on this section. All
Right.
right, maybe I'm going to drop out so that there's space so you can actually hear what's going on, and then you can come back in, and as the dynamic builds and you build it up. I think just being conscious or aware of that there's new energy in the group, and leaving space for that person to feel comfortable. Just,
Right.
some
Definitely.
standard sit-in rules,
Right.
don't play over
What
everything.
what about having Tanika come on, or having a vocalist? How does that change the dynamic?
So you add another person in, right? So especially with vocals now vocals is something that I think just for humans just resonate easy, or just just naturally, right? It's kind of ingrained in us. So in the mix, that definitely can take up space, and my
Right.
role will change, or even Matt's role will change, as we're not covering melodies anymore. So the melody and the harmony approach, will alter. Like for me, it's fun to then do much more textures, to support Kanika, or make an atmosphere that I might not would have in another song, because I'm covering melody and I'm playing chords. I
Right.
only have two hands. So I've seen a couple of people play with their toes, and I'm not one of them. So
Right. Yeah. I saw Paige McConnell do that once. He was going all
yeah, no, I haven't been doing yoga for that. So
right.
you know,
I hear you with that. There's a band out of Perth, Australia called Surprise Chef, and they do what they call cinematic soul. They basically sound like a Donna Hathaway album, all instrumental stuff. And when we were talking to him, the guy said, the best part about not having a singer is that you don't have a singer. I was like, dude, but you guys are mostly instrumental. Do you find that hinders you, like getting getting larger? When was the last time there was an instrumental hit? Probably like in the 60s, like Soulful Strut or something like that.
yeah, I do think instrumental music definitely it's a little harder to reach, say, than pop music or things that are played on radio. I mean, look, it's hard to get even college radio, right? Look
Right.
at who's AAA, or how many stations are AAA or for the college radio, and then also like Clear Channel and things like that. It's just like there's a lot. So to get new music, or I guess non-pop music, and into those avenues is a little bit tougher. It's not like the 60s where you have like pop was everything, from Dean Martin to, you know what I mean? Like the Beatles, like it's just,
Right.
you could hear that on a radio station, that's not the way that it is right now.
Yeah.
Um, you know, but like I think there is a niche, and with say like bands like Animals as leaders, like people love that, and people will go whatever the numbers they are, and there are shows that are selling out. And there's also I hate to call it like world music, but there's a global culture that loves
Most
it.
music is world music. Like
Yeah,
10%
I'm
is
saying, like
coming to
I
you.
don't want to. Let's clear it. Or, so I there's other cultures in other countries that love some of the prog music, some of the rock music, that might not necessarily be as popular, or on radio here. So,
Right.
or if people are still listening to radio.
Right. I want to do a festival called No Mics, and then it's just all bands who play instrumental.
Yeah, we can do that. We know how to do that. Let me know.
We can make that happen. That would be fantastic. Well, David Byrne once said that the reason songs have lyrics is so people will pay attention to the music.
Yeah, I mean, listen, again, it's the voice, man. I working with Kanika, and we've also been working with other vocalists as well, like
Mhm.
Lal Davinsky. Um, it's super fun because you can see other people kind of be brought into this community, and
Mhm.
you know, like for example, with Kanika, there's definitely an influx of women who are coming to the shows, who felt safe to be
Mhm.
in these places after seeing someone like her.
Mhm.
Um, you know what I mean? And then they feel acknowledged, and that's awesome. That like together we can bring
Right.
people into a place that can safely enjoy music, and like be weird just like us. You know what I mean? I
Right.
think that's something, and if it, so that is something, and if being instrumental can you know
Mm.
cohabitate with those kind of collabs, why not? You know?
Right. I hear you. I hear a lot of prog in some of what you guys do, which you don't normally hear in the instrumental funk realm. It's something that's normally not included in there. You want to talk a little bit about maybe some of your influences and how you guys landed on bringing that in, or was it again just a matter of, hey, this is who we are, this is what we like to play?
It's definitely what you just said. It's who we are. We like to play, you know, and then it's also a combination of different things. I think one thing is like we're all from New York, and
Hmm.
I think that's definitely a big part of our sound in terms of just the attitude, and just how I think we approach our relationships among ourselves, and like when we go to other places. I think we're hungry, and I think
Hmm.
there's that kind of aggressiveness in some of our music, especially the prog factors of it. But for us, like I know we were listening to Return to Forever, like Bill Bruford, like Frank Gambale, what else? I mean, I was listening to heavy stuff, even not necessarily like
I
to
hear Keith
quote songs, but
Emerson.
System of a Down, like
Right. I hear Keith Emerson from his Emerson, Lake and Palmer years in some of what you do when you get those incredible keyboard flourishes that just like wash over everything. Were you into that? Were you into LP at all?
I gotta be honest. I've listened to it, but growing up, not as much. For me, it
Mhm.
was really like
That's
classical
interesting.
music, and it was like
Right.
classical music, gospel, and like hip hop and like
Right.
R&B. At that time,
And he's very classical. Maybe it's the classical thing that I'm hearing come through.
yeah. Like what I will say about some of his lines and his phrasing is that it's definitely linear. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, and there's like an exactness to it,
Mhm.
and an intent, which I think is really cool. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um, and it's direct, you know,
Yeah.
which is cool. Definitely watching some of their videos or past performances has been pretty insane. And you think just about the time.
Right. I got to see him once with Al Palmer. They had Pal, guy named Pal. They were Emerson, Lake and Pal that tour. And Keith Emerson jumped up on his organ and started stabbing it. He had a knife.
Yeah,
While
yeah,
he was playing. I
I've
was
seen I've seen that. Maybe
like,
he
"Oh,
had a couple. I can't do that,
right."
today, but
I hear you at that price.
right.
So what do you guys got coming up? When are you getting back on the road? What's the rest of the year
Yeah,
looking like
so
for you?
we've been busy, man. Even and right now we have a fall tour coming up. But before that, we have a show at the Capitol Theater, October 25th. This is Oogie Boogie. It's an event that we've been doing. Long story short, it's like a bunch of our peers have had, respective to whatever city they're at, they all have their own festivals, and it's like, you know what, we should have our own annual event that we come to, as we've been in the game for a while, that all our fans can come to, and like we bring our music homies and the people who we're fans of to come celebrate in this event. So we were doing this 2 years, the past 2 years in Denver, and this is the third year that we decided to bring home to the Capitol Theater in Portchester, New York, which we're super excited about. So on the bill will be G Love. Um, we'll also have Kanika Moore will be there, Mike Wilbur, uh, Mahali from Twiddle. He'll be there.
Yep.
Um, and then we're gonna get Taz as well. Tad Niedermeyer for who's an amazing, I mean, child prodigy, more like grown man prodigy right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? So but but yeah, it's gonna be an amazing event. We're really
Well,
excited about it.
w- you did a song with G Love.
Yeah, we had G-Love come out to the studio. We tracked two songs with G-Love, so we have
Okay.
one in one in the cut. Don't tell anybody. But yeah,
Okay.
we did release one, which was super awesome. She came in and he was like ready to work. And matter of fact, we'll be playing his festival
Okay.
pretty soon.
Right.
But yeah, that was great to come do that. We had Modest Yahoo come in the studio. We did two
Yep.
tracks with him. Mike Wilbur, we had two tracks with him.
Is
Taz, we
this
did
going to be an album?
it's I think to be determined. It's hard to tell like how to release things anymore. It's like you can't sell CDs and
Right.
or you're selling vinyl, which is ironic. You know what I
You went
mean?
back to the 100-year-old technology. It's
Where do you sell your music? Like
right.
Spotify is Spotify. So
Right.
like,
Bandcamp. I guess Bandcamp helps.
yeah, I don't know, but for whatever reason, the Bandcamp doesn't seem to have the same stigma. I don't know why.
They got
But
bought out. They got bought out by a private equity firm.
yeah, good luck with BMI too. So I don't know. We'll see. Well,
Yeah.
so whoever's listening, find us. We'll find you.
Come buy a shirt. Come see us and buy a shirt.
Look for the
I
flare
I
gun.
love them. I Jim Cotta just is releasing a new one, I guess. But the last album they released over COVID, every month they released a single, and then on the 11th month they released the whole album.
That's a cool
So
idea.
that way,
Shout out
yeah,
to those guys. Evan's still doing it. Yeah, it's awesome. We know those guys for a while, man.
yeah, that keeps your
But
name
yeah,
out there every month. Once a month you
yeah,
pop back up with a new song.
it's tricky. That's kind of what the algorithm, whoever he or she or it is, decided. So that's kind of what people do. So it honestly does feel like a waste to release a 10 song album or like a 13
Mhm.
song album. Which makes it kind of interesting. It's like the limit of Spotify kind of will dictate the artistry that comes out, which is
Right.
kind of I feel like should be the other way around. Um, but right now it seems to get more people's attention if you're releasing singles after singles, because that's what the algorithm
It
seems to
was
reward. I don't know, man.
right.
I just play the piano apparently, so
Spotify. The thing with Spotify is they don't sell music; they sell subscriptions. So they could care less what is on there as long as you're paying them $6.99 a month for the subscription.
yeah, so it's just interesting, to these how to get the music out, man. But yeah, we
Right.
will continue to release singles, because and then we'll see. We'll put a
Well,
compilation
maybe
out,
we
maybe.
need to bring back 45s, and then you could just have like the G Love one with both songs and a double A side.
Yeah, maybe, maybe. Listen, if you find a plan that works, let me know.
I'll give you a call, definitely.
Yeah, give me a shout, send me an email or something, an SOS.
So, all right, so we open this door. What do you make of AI? Do you see it as being something that could be helpful with music, or do you see it as something that's another roadblock up for you guys to making money because they'll be making, commercials are going to be done by AI before you know it. The incidental music and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, think about
I
it, right?
think.
Look, if you're say a bunch of these companies for the Super Bowl, right? And
Mhm.
like you want to use Stevie Wonder's Superstition, and Stevie Wonder quotes you however much he quotes you, right? Like you could just get the version of it or the AI version of it, and like it don't have to pay the whatever cost. Yeah, I'm sure there's already lawsuits pending with this right now, but
Yeah.
it's a double-edged sword. I think it can help in a lot of ways. If let's say you're a starting business, But for the musician, it definitely, and the photographer and the artist, it definitely can take you out in a lot of ways. If you're not protected, if you're not smart about it. I mean, even bringing up Spotify too. I mean, there's weird playlists
Mhm.
that they, where essentially they're paying themselves. If I'm correct,
I saw that article. I saw an
you know,
article about that guy he made millions of dollars and now he's facing criminal charges because it was all fake music. I don't know how it's fake music, but whatever, however the thing
exactly.
works. But
So it's getting very gray, very nebulous. So I think it can be used in good ways, but I guess I'm gonna bank on myself, right, and my
Mhm.
peers, and like
Right.
humanity. Even though AI is part of
Uh-huh.
humanity, but I will bank on the fact that at the end of the day, it might be like a niche thing, but
Mhm.
playing your instruments and actually seeing someone give you a live show where they're actually technically great and can play their instruments, I think will be something worthwhile, you
Mhm.
know. And
Yeah, the
so
live performance, AI will never. I mean, they can have holograms and all that, but I don't think AI can ever replicate in the moment improvisation of a band that is tight on stage. So you got to just hang on to that stage.
I mean, it's getting pretty good as far as some of the plugins and things of that nature, man. But it's but
Right.
there's a difference, but the layman won't really,
Right.
like, how do you get people to care?
Right.
I mean,
Exactly. I use AI for tweets. I'm like add emojis to my tweet.
mhm.
So
Yeah, I mean,
what a way
sometimes
what
AI
a
can be
way.
used to generate ideas for a song. It's like that. I don't necessarily like that. Might not be the worst thing. I think some people already do that, and then you
Mhm,
take that idea, or you find a combination that's your own. Like, is that
mhm.
okay? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know what T.S. Eliot said, good poets imitate, great poets steal.
Gotcha, gotcha.
So take that for what it's worth. All right. Anything else that we want to throw out there? I'll put some links down for your guys' stuff down in the show notes afterwards. But anything we should be looking for besides the upcoming Cap Theater and the fall tour?
Um, we'll just keep looking out for music. We during that time, like COVID and after, we
Right.
actually been recording a bunch and trying to figure out the best way to release all these tunes. And collaboration was a really big part of what we've been doing. We're still gonna do our instrumental thing, and that's who we are. And we'll continue to do that and put out singles. But yeah, man, we're just gonna continue to outreach, and
Right.
music is what I think something that we have to do, collectively and individually, the four
Right.
of us for Talk Man. So I thank you for taking the time, and checking this out.
I love it. I love it. Some great stuff. All right. Everybody hang out for a second. I'm gonna run a 30-second outro. Everybody watching, make sure that you like, subscribe, leave a comment. We're at All That Jam Pod on all the socials. And remember, stay beautiful, but don't stay underground too long. We'll see you. Sorry.